This episode is dedicated to the first legend I ever met. A strong woman who, from start to finish, gave her all for her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren. The one who led the Strickland, Gurley, Mahan, Robinson, and Johnson families. Kept us above ground as long as she could, before God had to call his servant home. The one I call Big Momma. So when my little brother calls Granny. To Ophelia Strickland, I'm here because of you. I'm going to make you proud today. This one's for you.
Fully concentrated now and I aim to be the greatest. For every ounce of energy and love I ever gave it. And for all the time they ever said that we would never make it, they could save it. Cause I'm going to keep on doing my thing.
Sports fans, what's happening is this, the Captain Ron Johnson. Welcome to TLC. We're almost to spring break and we're almost to St. Patty's Day, the best drinking holiday of the year. Screw Cinco de Mayo because that's got nothing on St. Patty's Day, if you know what I'm saying. If you ever got drunk on St. Patty's Day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's get things to perspective here, folks. We are literally 16 days away from WrestleMania, and there have been two big matches at it from this past Monday night. We have John Cena getting his rematch against, wait for it, Rusev for the United States Championship. Should be a lot of fun and a lot of action coming up out of that one. Plus, Bray Wyatt's been waiting for a response to his challenge from Fastlane. Finally sitting here revealing at Fastlane that it was The Undertaker that he wanted. Well, Bray, ask you shall receive. The Undertaker was quick to respond and literally made it clear that at WrestleMania, the man comes around. Figure out your own theory on that one. Either way, should be a lot of fun. Those two matches did get out. Also, courtesy to SmackDown, we did find out that Daniel Bryan and Stardust were both added to that huge ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. We still have one spot left open. Let the rumor mill go crazy. My pick as far as basically the 8th and final guy, thinking maybe it's going to be, since how we haven't seen him in a few weeks, don't know for sure. Could be Jeff Hardy. Could be Shelton Benjamin. Could even be Carlito. Either way, should be a lot of interesting things going on because we have not seen a ladder match of this magnitude, and that didn't involve a briefcase in a long time. So these guys better be ready to basically tear the house apart. Because the last one was indeed the first Money in the Bank ladder match, which pretty much tore the house down when WrestleMania went Hollywood. But that's besides the point. Now, let's switch gears. Let's go to the NBA. Now, literally the last time we talked about the NBA, said that don't take these standings for granted. Things can happen and things can get shaken up quite easily. Literally living proof. Hang on a second. Is there a way we can, change this? Because, I love the whole NWO persona you got going here right now, but ain't really doing much for me. There we go. That's better. All right. We did say a little while back that the NBA, was coming and that it was going to be big and it was going to be huge and that we were going to literally have a lot of fun with it. Now, living proof that there is two sides to every season and two sides to every off season. Last season, San Antonio and Miami were basically standing 1-2 respectively at the top of the NBA food chain, with San Antonio hoisting up the championship, Miami being the runner-up. Not really used to that, apparently, was most people. But what did happen, however, was the very fact that now, this time around, we have San Antonio and Miami both fighting for their playoff lives in more ways than one. San Antonio right now sits in the 6th spot if the NBA playoffs were to start today, while Miami, on the other hand, is sitting pretty in the basement, barely hanging on to a playoff spot And I know that I had some, one of my staffers happens to be a Miami fan, and he told me if I said anything about Miami, that, he'd probably say or make me pay for it. I don't know exactly what he was thinking, but he probably was just doing a lot of this because he's not going to do anything crazy. Really? Really, Jay? Jay, come on. It's a joke. Live with it. Can we get some things going there? Thank you. Jay, quit messing with the tech stuff. You know what? I'm seriously about to fire you and cancel your internship if you can't get this thing right. Come on. Come on. We got our show to run. Okay. Apparently, Jay is very upset about the fact that we said something about the Miami Heat. It ain't our fault that they suck, Jay. Get over it. Besides, you don't even have a legitimate gripe right now. People in Philadelphia and Dallas have a legitimate gripe. Hey, look at that. Thanks, T. Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right. Now, as far as the standings goes, Atlanta and Cleveland are sitting at 1 and 2. Atlanta's got a pretty decent, comfortable lead on the Cavaliers. But I'll tell you right now, if the Spurs were to face the Cavaliers in the NBA Finals this year, they get killed. Kyrie Irving was just a man possessed last night, racking up points every single tomorrow. LeBron racking up points every single tomorrow. Cavaliers in their big overtime win over the Spurs. Pretty sweet of how that actually worked out for them. Chicago is sitting right now number 3 and Toronto's at number 4. Yes, Toronto is still at the playoff hunt, in the thick of it, no less. Washington is taking a little bit of a curve, a little bit of a dive since the last time we actually mentioned them. Milwaukee is still sitting in the same spot they were in the last time, sitting at number 6. But the 7th and 8th spot seem to be bouncing between the two. See, Miami was in the number 7 spot. Somehow, someway, they choked away the 7th spot. Now is barely hanging on to the 8th spot. 7th spot now belongs to Indiana, who was on the outside looking in just a few weeks ago. Now are looking at the possibility that they could be the number 7 seed, possibly going against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the playoffs. Miami, on the other hand, has 2 teams to worry about at this very time, and that's the Boston Celtics and the Charlotte Hornets. Yes, the Charlotte Hornets are still in the fight. I still would love to see Charlotte in the playoffs rather than seeing Miami because, quite frankly, I can't stand egotistical prima fucking donnas who whine their asses off and literally will not get the job done. I digress. In the West, you got Golden State, and Memphis, 1-2 respectively. Another one of those that basically can go either way because these 2 teams have been basically battling back and forth. Make one hell of a Western Conference final. But, not to be outdone, Portland is right there with them. Portland is at number 3. I don't remember last time that basically I could say that Golden State, Portland, and Houston were like the top 3 teams in the Western Conference of the NBA. I can't remember the last time, but I'm pretty sure that if I pose this question on Twitter, that most likely everybody will literally let me know. And by the way, if you're trying to find me on Twitter, just look for @Omega TLC. That is OMEGA, Big TLC. You can't miss me. I'm the guy with the blue notes that are blasting. At number 4, it's Houston. And number 5 is the LA Clippers. They're kind of basically between 4 and 5, which they're basically accustomed to. People are not accustomed to is not seeing the defending champs at the top of that food chain, let alone not seeing a Kobe-led basketball team out of the playoff hunt. But they are. Pretty much they practically shut down everybody after this one. San Antonio sitting at number 6 with Dallas right behind them at number 7. It's kind of fitting interesting how the Texas team is actually doing the best right now is Houston. Just saying. San Antonio sitting at number 6, Dallas at number 7. But yet Houston's the team that nobody's talking about. I mean, James Harden's beard alone has its own damn area code. That beard is so notoriously dangerous that it probably fights Chuck Norris's beard on the weekend. That's all I'm saying. Now, the number 8 spot is where things get interesting because you have New Orleans pretty much holding on to that spot, but right behind them is the Phoenix Suns, and then right behind them is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Why did I say it like that? Because quite frankly, the Oklahoma City Thunder have been literally hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss. Why? One name, Russell Westbrook. It's the reason why the Thunder seem to be failing. Everybody's like, oh no, Russell Westbrook has been being clutch. He's got triple doubles every single game. Then why is it that the Oklahoma City Thunder are sitting on the outside of playoff hunt? When the last couple of years they've been pretty much between 1 and 4, or even 1 and 6, between the first and the 6th seeds right around this time. And now they have a slim to none chance of making these playoffs unless they can basically overstep New Orleans, outlast Phoenix, overstep Dallas, and this is Phoenix we're talking about here. No Charles Barkley, no Dan Marley, no Kevin Johnson. Remember this when it basically comes down to it. So, let's get that. Why are you guys doing? Stop. Enough. We're going to flip the script here just to the... Well, I guess we did need to shave. Anyway, I digress. My team apparently is very disgruntled right now. I don't know why. Maybe they're pissed off because of the fact that basically we're calling it like we see it. Now, let's go to the NHL while we basically have this time together. Did you know right now that we have 6 teams currently tied in the race for the President's Trophy in the top spot in the NHL and the Stanley Cup playoffs, which guarantees you home ice advantage throughout the entire show. Now, coincidentally enough, one of those teams aren't supposed to be there right now. That team is, well, the Nashville Predators. So I'll tell you right now, there's no way that everybody expected the Nashville Predators to basically be this tight in the race for the President's Trophy, let alone the Central Division. And the Avs to basically be on the outside looking in. Nobody expected Chicago basically not to be running the Central Division like they have in the last few years. And I'm guaranteeing nobody expected the Islanders and the Rangers to be in a slugfest for the Metro Division. But that's exactly what we got going right now. Standings heading into tonight. Montreal, coming off of a bad loss, still sits at the top spot. The Rangers are right behind them at number 2. Tampa Bay at number 3. We got the Islanders at 4. Detroit at number 5. Pittsburgh at number 6. Washington at number 7. Number 8 is where that final wild card spot is what pretty much everybody is looking at here. Because you have Boston right now with that sitting comfortably with 80 points. You have Florida right there on their coattails at 74 points, only trailing by 6 points. And you got Ottawa trailing by 7 points. And all of them have the same thing in common. They all want that coveted 8th and final playoff spot. Most likely, looking at it this way, one of them is going to be playing either Montreal or the Rangers. Or even the matter Tampa Bay or the New York Islanders. You never know. This is how good the final stretch of that hockey postseason is, because you never know who's going to be at the top of that food chain. So you never know what's going to happen. On the west side of things, same damn thing. A couple of weeks ago, Nashville looked like they were unstoppable. Nashville and Anaheim, like they were the only ones in that slugfest for the President's Trophy. Anaheim is starting to slump. Nashville has only won once out of the past 7 games. And the team that's been taking advantage of it, coincidentally, has been Minnesota, Calgary, Chicago, and St. Louis. How crazy is that? St. Louis right now sits at the top of the Western Conference with 91 points. Anaheim right behind them also with 91. Nashville behind them with, yes, you guessed it, 91 points. Chicago right now sitting in the 4th spot for now, as most Blackhawks fans will most likely attest to. Vancouver sits at number 5, Calgary at number 6. Minnesota sits comfortably at number 7, and lo and behold, the team that was pretty much in the basement and on the outside looking in just a short while ago has now found themselves 1 point ahead of the team that was in the wild card up until about a couple of nights ago. The Los Angeles Kings, the defending Stanley Cup champs, now find themselves in familiar territory. 79 points and in control of the 8th and final wild card spot. But Winnipeg, I guarantee this one, Winnipeg will win a game or at least get a point. If not get a point, they will win this weekend. If not get a point, as they're sitting at 78 points, 1 point behind. 1 point behind the Los Angeles Kings. San Jose is 3 points behind the Los Angeles Kings with 76 points, and they had a pretty nice showing last night against the Nashville Predators, winning 2-0. 2-0. Colorado, still slim chances, but at least they're fighting, and they have literally winners of 6 straight. 73 points for the Colorado Avalanche right now. Dallas with 72 points heading into Sunday's matchup against the St. Louis Blues. And the last time those teams met each other, well, you already know what the hell happened. Anyway, those 6 teams that are tied for that President's Trophy race: Montreal, Tampa Bay, the New York Rangers, the St. Louis Blues, the Nashville Predators, the Anaheim Ducks. The closest team to them, to those 91 point holders, the New York Islanders with 90 points. When's the last time you actually got to sit here and say that the Islanders were actually good? Exactly. Which brings us to the final stretch of it. Tonight, biggest game, probably 2 of the biggest games you'll ever see. Ottawa taking on the New York Islanders. The Islanders trying to basically keep in pace with the Rangers. Ottawa trying to get some much-needed points and put more pressure on the Boston Bruins. Anaheim will take on the Minnesota Wild and what could be a potential first-round matchup if they had their way. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen on that one. This could be a pretty good matchup coming up. Saturday is probably going to bring you a lot more fun because you got Boston taking on Pittsburgh. You got Detroit taking on Philly. Philly's still fighting for a playoff spot. Chicago taking on San Jose. The Rangers taking on Buffalo, and then on any given day, the Buffalo Sabres can be the spoiler. Winnipeg taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yes, I said this weekend, I guarantee it. The Winnipeg Jets will either get a point, or win. Why do I say that? Because Nashville is taking on Los Angeles, and I think Nashville will snap into action and beat the LA Kings, and that should make that playoff showdown between the Jets and the Kings very damn interesting. You got Montreal taking on the Islanders. You got Toronto taking on Vancouver, Florida taking on Carolina, New Jersey taking on Arizona, and what could be, a hit-and-miss game if you basically are a Jersey fan. At least you get a good game out of it. Calgary takes on Colorado, and if Colorado's going to make the playoffs, they're going to make damn sure Calgary pays for it. And, of course, the Minnesota Wild, the game of the night, not the game of the day, but the game of the night, Minnesota taking on St. Louis, and what also could be a potential first-round showdown. And don't forget, on NBC this Sunday, Red Wings will take on the Penguins, and in indoor football action, the Colorado Ice return from their bye week, motivated, dedicated, and literally ready to unleash some hell and some payback, no less, on probably one of the most controversial teams in the indoor football league, the defending champs, the Sioux Falls Storm, minus their big, high-priced quarterback. They barely skated out with a victory against Cedar Rapids, which means anything can possibly happen, which means the Ice can pretty much get one of the biggest wins in franchise history, as they will take on the Sioux Falls Storm. Now, I do believe we've hit every single corner that we could, every nook and cranny possible. I don't know if there's anything else that can be said except for one thing. I like to take this moment to thank my grandmother for being there, for keeping us motivated and keeping us on as straight of a path as we can, for telling us that basically the petty mess can take a back seat. So for that, to my cousins who I have feuded with, I have beefed with, I have battled with, I have fought with, I love you guys to death, and I will always have your backs. To the family that I did not get to talk to all the damn time, I love you guys to death. That even includes you too, Captain. Yes, this is about a good hour after our little spat, after our little Facebook spat, so get over yourself. To my kids, I love you, and I will always be here for you. That's all of you. I'm talking about Vanessa, Alana, Quincy, Quinlan, all of you. You're my family, and I love you guys. And to all the friends who basically paid their respects, I thank you and greatly appreciate it. And to the family that is suffering right now, my family that's suffering, I'm here. So if you need to talk, you pick up a phone, you call. I'm right here. So we're going to see what happens. I'm going to get ready for a trip to Arkansas, and hopefully it'll be a trip worth enjoying. I'll at least be able to be around family. So all of you who've paid your condolences and paid your respects to me, I thank you both. I thank you all, and I love you all very much for that. This has been the Captain. This has been TLC. I'm going to get this stupid headset off because that thing's worthless. I'm going to go find Jay and smack him in the back of the head for all his shenanigans. And we will see you guys bright and early next week, where most likely the standings are going to be different. The point standings are going to be different. And we'll still continue giving you what you came for. That's basically the complete opposite of what you get from everybody else. So for that being said, This has been the captain. This has been TLC. Big Mama, I hope I did you proud. And if I didn't, I'll keep trying. Because you wouldn't want me to quit, and I'm not going to start now. Love you all.
Need to hear love. Need to hear